I've always gazed up in wonder at the stars. There's a family photo of me bundled up in a winter coat, peering through a telescope at the night sky, standing on a ladder to get a better angle on a lunar eclipse. The stars. This is what our Milky Way looks like from Earth. And from space, we can see the beautiful spiral shape of our galaxy. It's an amazing thing. We stand on the Earth, and if we're lucky, this is what we see. But now we can see pictures of our own galaxy. It's a mystery. It's a wonder. It's a miracle. And this spiral is very important because it's everywhere. Let me tell you a little bit about Leonardo Fibonacci, a mathematician. About the year 1200, he popularized the Hindu Arabic numerals in Europe, introducing Europe to the zero. He also described an interesting series of numbers made by starting with 1 and adding the next two numbers together, the next number to it. So 1 and 1, you get 2, and then you get 2 and 1 is 3, and 3, 2 and 1 is 3, 2 and 1 is 3, 3 and 2 is 5, right? 5 and 3 is 8. Okay, I've got it written down, but thank you. So you get that. An unusual feature of the Fibonacci sequence is that each number and its neighbor are in a relationship that mathematicians call the golden ratio. 3 and 5, for example, add up to 8. And 8 plus 5, 8 divided by 5 is the ratio 1.6. 5 divided by 3 is the ratio 1.6. And you can plot a series of these Fibonacci numbers, and this golden ratio forms a spiral. It's the spiral we recognize in seashells. It's the spiral we see in many plants. This is a cactus. It's the spiral in a rose. And it's even in our DNA. And yes, it's not just in ourselves, but in our stars. How wondrous. The astronomer Michael Molnar points out that in the east, the star in the east, is a literal translation of the Greek phrase enti anatoli, which was a technical term used in Greek mathematical and astrology more than 2,000 years ago. It described very specifically a planet that would rise above the eastern horizon just before the sun would appear. And then, just moments after the planet rises, it disappears in the bright glare of the sun in the morning sky. And so, except for a brief moment, no one can see this star in the east. And then they knew it wasn't a star, they knew it was a planet, but that's what they called it. Because the planets are visible at some times, but not others, some times of the day, some times of the year, a planet that had been invisible for some time and then again became visible briefly in that morning period just before dawn as the star in the east was regarded as a very momentous return of the star, of the planet. And when it was a major planet like Jupiter, it was especially significant to those ancient astronomers. And anyone born on that day was regarded as having some kind of important future. And the planet, the star that happened 2,000 years ago that seemed to stand over Bethlehem. It may have seemed that way because when the difference in the Earth's speed of orbit and the orbit of the planet that's visible change, because they're different, the different speeds, it can sometimes seem as if the planet is shining but moving, instead of moving westward, it changes to eastward, and it may seem for a moment to hover, as it might have seemed to hover over Bethlehem. So, 3 well-informed scholars, noticing the convergence of these events, the rising in the east, the return of a major planet that seemed to hover over Bethlehem, they may have concluded that the star signaled a miraculous birth, or at the very least, the birth of a very important person. And so they went looking. And maybe the miracle is that they went looking. Now let's talk about the Hannukah miracle, the light that didn't go out, that lasted 8 days instead of just 1. But scholars point to an interesting story behind the story. The 7 days that it took to get more oil might not have been the time it took for a messenger to go and get purified oil and bring it back, but it may have been instead the time that Judah Maccabee took, the 7 days that he took to be ritually purified so that he could bless the oil. This was olive oil that had been blessed. It was used in cooking, but when it was blessed, it could be used in the temple. And Judah Maccabee wasn't just a temple leader, he was a war leader. And when the Jews took back the temple and Judah walked in, he'd just been in a battle. Before he could conduct the ceremony to make the oil ritually pure, he had to go through a purification ritual himself, a ritual that takes 7 days. So you can imagine, put yourself there. Everyone's instinct is to light the lamp immediately, to rededicate the temple, to take it back. But maybe Judah Maccabee, warrior, victor, all-around tough guy, maybe Judah took the 7 days to become ritually pure and then to purify the oil. And maybe that's the miracle. Did 1 day's worth of light burn for 7 days? Did they burn a little bit each day to keep the lamp symbolically burning? Did they use a little bit of cooking oil? No, we don't know, and we'll never know. But maybe, just maybe, the real miracle is the spiritual depth of this warrior priest, that he took the time when everyone wanted the temple rededicated, that he took the time for spiritual practice. It may have been this heart, the triumph of the spiritual over the materialistic, the heart of the Jewish relationship to God, rather than the Hellenistic insistence that any oil will do as long as the light kept burning. It's a distinction like that between the magician who kept the light of the universe hidden in a box and the raven who shared it with the world. Materialism versus the open-hearted gift of light. Like the raven, we human beings continue to fling hope into the sky, whether it's the vessel that held a shining light for longer than is possible, or the vessel that touched down on Mars last week. We defy expectations. We explore. We dream. We do the seemingly impossible. And now we know the earth isn't flat. Ships don't fall off the edge of it. Heavier than air flight is a reality. Rockets routinely reach escape velocity. And we don't just gaze up at the stars. We take photographs of the spiral Milky Way galaxy and know it as only one of many. We create electricity and light by collecting and storing sunshine. Against all odds, life exists. We human beings exist, and with awe and wonder, we seek to explain our own existence, this miracle of our own existence. We celebrate holy days with family and friends, and often with people who may be the strangers we welcome into our homes. We love. We kindle lights in the dark again and again, despite all odds. The wonder is not in our stars, but in ourselves. The more science we know, the more we find life wondrous, mysterious, miraculous. And not the least wondrous is that the stars themselves are the very source of our being. Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist and 21st century incarnation of the three scholars who followed the star millennia ago, marvels that atoms of our bodies are traceable to the stars that manufactured them in their cores and then exploded these enriched ingredients across our galaxy billions of years ago. We are literally, biologically connected to every other living thing in the world. We are literally chemically connected to all molecules on Earth. And at the atomic level, we are literally atomically connected to all the atoms in the universe. We are literally stardust. Stardust. What if we found an old manuscript with a creation story that said the stars came down to Earth to live as human beings? Would we laugh? But the stars did come down. It's not just a story. They came to Earth and they're in us today. The spark of light in each one of us, it's not just metaphorical. The light is in us, and it is us. Let it shine.